Oh, crap. Oh. Hey, YouTube. Sorry, I was just trying. Okay, now there's 2 people. Sorry, I was just trying to cover the thing that shows when there's people in here, like, viewing the stream, because I just don't like it when it says there's only one person. It just makes me uncomfortable. So, but now it says there's 2, which I guess is better. I don't know. Sorry, I have a really bad headache. Oh, now there's one again. Crap. I'm sick of doing live streams, honestly. I wish I could just do regular videos. I'm sick of everything lately. I probably won't, I don't know. I don't know. I have a really bad headache right now. I haven't seen the sun in like days or weeks. I'm not really too sure. It's been a while. So, but it's Tinka Tuesday. Oh, and now there's 2 people in here again. Yay. I get really distracted by stuff though, like seeing like numbers, like how many people are in the like watching, or my subscriber count hasn't changed for like weeks now. I was really happy when I got over 1,000 a couple weeks ago, even though I was trying my best not to pay attention to the numbers. But it was really weird because before, oh, now it's back to 1. I don't like this. I'm just tired. I'm really tired of all this shit. I really am. Oh God. All right. Just tired. I was trying not to pay attention to the subscriber count. But, you know, I was kind of like a few weeks ago, I was excited to try to get it over 1,000, or like at least to 1,000. But before it got to 1,000, it kept going like up and down in the 80s for a while. And that was going on for quite a while. Like it would go up and it would go down in the 80s. And then once I got past 1,000, it went to 1.03, which I'm guessing is 1,003. But that's been like that now for weeks and it hasn't changed. It hasn't gone up and it hasn't gone down. So that's just very suspicious to me, like everything else pretty much. It adds to this feeling that it's all just an illusion and nothing is real. That I'm probably not like actually online anywhere. Or my dancer friend Taz has me though on her phone, so I've seen my channel on her phone, thankfully, so that's at least something. But then I'm like, well, is she a real human? Is anybody a real human? I'm very psychologically tortured, I feel like. And physically as well. I had a bad shift again last night. I'm trying to think. I have good shifts occasionally. I know that I must here at the club. I'm at the club right now. I have about half an hour before I have to go sign in. I have good shifts here and there. I know that I do. I can't say that I don't. It's just that they don't happen very often. Usually my shifts here at the club feel like torture, just like everything else, pretty much. Other than sleeping, being in my bed, that's happiness to me. That's like the only source of it that I really can like, and like food, I guess sometimes, but I don't know. It's very short-lived. And I don't really sleep well, except on my days off, in which case my days off, I oversleep. So I just like don't want to stop. I just wish I could just like stay unconscious for like pretty much always. With like very brief intervals of like being conscious enough just to go on the internet from my laptop and then go back to sleep. That's like my only source of like joy pretty much anymore. Everything else just feels like torture, basically. I used to really enjoy being on stage. Like, I used to live for that here at the club. There were times throughout the years of me working here, I've worked here for some years, and there were times where being on stage here at the club was just a dream, and like I couldn't believe the things that it still happens. You know, sometimes I'm like, wow, I can't believe I was able to do that. But it just, as I get older and as time goes on and things change for the worse, pretty much, it just tapers off and becomes less and less of a thing that happens. And you know, it's really very painful being a stripper, at least for me it is. I physically, mentally, emotionally, psychologically. I have a really bad headache right now. I was saying yesterday, in my video yesterday was my 15 years of recovery. And that's not for drugs or alcohol, that's for like a physical, like health issue that I had, like bad behaviors. So throughout the time that I've been a dancer, I started dancing pretty early on into my recovery process. And I really started to, when I started dancing, I really had a specific goal in mind to try to approach it in a healthy way and to try to, even though there's like a stereotype of strippers, like sometimes falling into like bad habits and bad things, you know, I really made a point going into it to try not to let that happen and to try to use it for like in a good way, to try to use it to be healthy, to try to approach it like a workout and get my body into a healthy place, or try to as best I could. And I really felt like I've been able to do that for the most part. I don't know. I've still definitely struggled with my body image a lot though as a dancer, and you know, gone on diets to try to look better, taken that too far to the point where I've gone in the other direction again with like being unhealthy in other ways. But, you know, I've tried to be mindful of that and I've just tried really, really hard to be healthy as best I can. Like, I really do approach dancing as like my sport, and I go on the pole on the stage so much extra just to try to get a workout and to try to get in shape and that kind of thing. But, you know, it's like there's so many things that seems to be working against me besides the obvious. You know, it's going to be dangerous and difficult to climb a 15-foot pole pretty much probably no matter what, unless you're like superhuman. But for most people, that would probably be a difficult thing anyways in and of itself. But, you know, like here at this club that I work at, this is the only club that I've worked at so far, or even been in for that matter. The only strip club anyway. You know, it's like other dancers that don't go on the pole wear lotion, and the pole is just very slippery. They have this smoke stuff that they use sometimes that's like an oil-based product that they pump throughout the air to like smoke the place out, and it makes the pole really slippery. So up until last night, it had been a while since I saw them use that smoke stuff. But whenever it's been a while, I try not to like cross my fingers or hold my breath or think about it too much, because it never lasts. They always put it back on eventually. And so they put it back on last night. It was actually my favorite manager working last night that did it, and he's been the one to do it a lot recently in the past, I've noticed. I mean, it has been a little while up until last night, but before, when it was happening, the most recently that I can remember, it was also him. Whereas back in the day, like years and years ago, it used to be the DJs that mostly did that rather than the managers. I actually had a real issue with a couple of DJs, like abusing that to the point to try to like extort tips from me, like knowing that I was allergic to it, and that was a big issue years and years ago. But those DJs haven't worked here at the club for a while, thankfully. So I still see them come in though from time to time, which really stresses me out. But it's kind of weird though, because this manager that I'm referring to, I'm pretty sure he's the only person at the club, as far as like management, that knows how much I hate that smoke stuff and that I'm allergic to it, and that it's like a make or break kind of thing for me, where if I know it's being used for a shift, I won't want to do that shift and I won't bother to come in. Which really sucks, because otherwise I would want to try to come into the club as often as I can to try to be active and to try to get a workout and not just be oversleeping in bed, rotting in bed, you know, sitting on my ass, that kind of thing. You know, this is my job. And even though we make our own schedules here at this club as dancers, I still want to try to come in on a regular basis almost every day to pretty much treat it like a regular job as best I can, because that has been a big part of my recovery process and trying to just have a somewhat normal, structured life as best I can. You know how they say like idle hands are like, you know, the devil's playground or whatever they say. So like, yeah, for me, I try, even though we could technically at this club, since the dancers make their own schedule, we could come in like once a month if we wanted to. It used to be like is whatever we wanted, and then a couple years ago they switched it to the month cap. So if it's been over a month since you last worked, you have to redo your contract and like re-audition and that kind of thing. But even that's pretty good, because you can literally, if you want to, take an entire month off from working here, and as long as it's been technically less than a month, you can just come back in whenever you want. It's only after the month that you have to like redo stuff. So I really can't remember the last time I've gone that long. Even like a week for me feels like a long time. Honestly, I'm at the age now where if it's more than like a day or two, that's actually a bad thing for me, because my body tightens up more, my muscles tighten up more, my muscle memory fades more, and this is really like a sport for me where I pretty much have to do it almost every single day. So taking like 1 or 2 days off here and there is okay and fine, whatever, but any more than that in a row is actually like for the worse for me and detrimental to my consistency and progress. And I just have to try to do this as much as I can, pretty much, and like within reason, obviously, and just stay consistent. And I pretty much at this point, just like, yeah, with my age especially, I'm pretty much forced, just by physics or just like by how things are for me, to treat this like a regular job regardless, even though I don't have to technically. I pretty much still have to anyways, just to be able to continue to do what I like to do as a dancer on stage and on the pole, and just like different things that I do, even floor work, like with my body, like splits, and just stuff that you really have to, or I really have to stay consistent with, like stretching and just staying active. And that has been a big part of my recovery process too, just to give myself something to do, you know, structure, focus, goals, just staying busy, basically, that kind of thing. So when I feel like I'm forced to not, like when I feel like I'm really unable to come in and work for things beyond my control, like with the smoke stuff they use from time to time, I'm very allergic to that. Like I get sick. Like right now I have a splitting headache. I've had rashes, I've had hair loss, I've had nosebleeds, I've had panic attacks. Not full, close. I mean, it's on the verge of like, you know. So it's not just like, you know, I'm being like dramatic or difficult. I mean, my body, it's beyond my control to where I actually have like a physical allergy to this stuff, and I really do try to ignore it. Like I try to just push past it, because I'm that kind of person where, you know, like I try to just toughen things out, you know what I mean, as best I can. Like I very rarely will really put up a fight with stuff. Like I will fight, but I'll fight in my own ways, behind the scenes, and usually quietly. Like I don't really like, obviously I complain about stuff here on my YouTube, but that's like even that feels like kind of like a private little corner vice for me. Like people in my real life, people in my surrounding environment, I don't really talk to them or complain to them typically, you know what I mean? Like I don't know who watches my YouTube. It might not be anybody. It might just be like a computer app. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even know. The internet can be so much of an illusion, it seems like. So I don't know. But in my real life, like at my job here at the club and just like with my family, what there is of that, I don't really talk to them or complain because it's never really gotten me anywhere. Like, people don't really seem to care what I have to say or what I think or how I feel. It's just up to everybody else how things go. And that's been my entire life. That's what I'm so used to, that I don't really see the use in wasting my time or energy to try to argue things or put up a fight. It's like, whatever anybody else wants, that's how it's going to be, because that's how it's always been. So my strategy in life has been to kind of just like usually try to tuck away into my own little dark private corner as best I can, just as far away from other people as I can get, and just try to like do my own thing in my own time, as far away from other people as I can get myself, to where hopefully they won't try to interfere and ruin things as much as if I were in closer proximity to where they're more aware of me and the fact that I exist, and they can therefore try to actively infiltrate and mess things up for me more once they're aware of me more. Like, so yeah, I don't trust people. I don't trust humans. I've never really had good results from interacting with anybody, with a very few exceptions. Like, there are exceptions to that, thankfully. Mostly though, pretty much any exception to that has been other dancers here at the club. I love strippers. But most of them anyways, which is awesome. But other than that, there are a few other people here and there, like out in the world, that have, you know, been the exception to that. But, you know, kind of like few and far between. And there are nice people that work here at the club too, don't get me wrong, but I'm just used to not being able to trust people, anybody or anything, even myself included. But anyways, you know, it's like, I want to work. I want to be here at the club. I really do. Like, but there's so many things about it that just feel like torture. Which sucks, because there's so many cool people that work here. There's so many amazing dancers. There are so many amazing employees as well. And it's great vibes usually. You know, it's a lot of fun. The music is great. There's definitely customers that I don't like and that I haven't liked, but there's also a lot of customers that I have liked and that are, you know, guys that are great too. Guys that come in that are awesome. And, you know, like more people my age. Like, what am I going to do besides hole up, hunker down in my apartment and just try not to freeze to death? Like, you know, at my apartment, I'll go online and I have been trying to write a book for a long time, but honestly, I hate trying to write. I like to read. I like writing in general, but I don't like trying to like actually write a book. It sucks. So I like to be out at the club, you know, like for the most part. Honestly, I'd still rather be in bed, technically, like, but at the same time, I know that that's not healthy and that's not good for me to just rot in bed constantly, like, you know. So I do try to push myself and kind of force myself to come into the club and just enjoy it as best I can, you know, try to be productive, try to be social, try to be, you know, contribute to things and to people in society in the best way that I can, you know. The only really way that I know how so far, or can seem to, I don't know what else to do, basically, you know. It's like, where I'm from, there don't seem to be really any options or a whole lot to do. It's winter like 8 months out of the year here, pretty much. And besides that, it's just a small town, kind of just, if you guys could see the parking lot and like what I'm looking at right now, it's all just gray. Everything's just, there's the white snow. It snowed last night. We didn't see that on the weather report. We didn't get any snow in the weather, like any warning for that. It just snowed. Thankfully, it wasn't too much this time, but I think we're supposed to get more tonight and yada yada. So there's snow, there's a gray sky. Everything is pretty much just like gloomy and gray all around me. And yeah, I can't remember like the last time I saw the sun. I know it hasn't been like a month or anything, but it's definitely been days or weeks. It's been a while. And it's depressing, but I want to come into work, basically. Like, I know that it's like healthier for me and better for me to try to put myself to use in some way, shape, or form, try to be active, try to go on the pole, try to go on stage, stretch, just stretch mostly. Like, stretching is so important for me. And yeah, I'm really allergic to that smoke stuff they use, so it really sucks. And then it's that and the lasers. Oh my God, the laser lights, you guys. Like, the laser lights are unbelievable, and they don't always put them on as much as other times, but last night, combined with the smoke, it's like my head hurts so bad right now. And I try so hard to be healthy. Like, this past summer, I was on the treadmill for like 2 hours at a time. Not 2 hours, was it 2 hours? It was 99 minutes, so almost 2 hours. You know, just like jogging nonstop for that 99 minutes. And I was doing that so consistently, and I was so proud of myself. And I really, really try to eat healthy and, like, you know, not give in to temptations for like unhealthy stuff that might just taste good in the moment. But, you know, I don't really have vices. I don't smoke. I'm 8 months free of not smoking weed now. I don't drink. I really, really try to be healthy. So when there's like these things that I can't control beyond my control that like just like kind of not only make me feel sick, like in the moment in the next following days, but also prevent me from feeling like I'm able to go into work and do my job, I just don't know what to do. And it really sucks. However, I am a silver lining kind of person, and I always try to look at the upside. So last night and lately, when the smoke has been going on and all those crazy laser lights, it seems like it's been my favorite manager doing it. And yeah, I'm pretty sure he's like the only employee at the club right now that really is very actively aware of how much I hate that stuff. And he's leaving pretty soon. So because he had been my favorite manager for so long, I was really kind of like upset about him leaving in a couple months, and not really too sure how to deal with that, and just like sad and upset about it. But now I'm like, okay, this is actually good, because if he's the one that has been doing this lately, he's leaving. So I was so sad and upset about that, but I guess that will be like the good thing of he's just making it easier for him to leave and for me not to be as upset about it, basically. So yay, silver lining. That's how my brain works also. So I always try to see the upside. There's almost always a silver lining to things. So that's just what I have to focus on, you know. Cause yeah, the other DJ, there's a new DJ now that I don't think is aware of my little issue with that. And it's funny too, because New Year's Eve, we had this new DJ, and I was actually like holding my breath the whole time, but he didn't use the smoke stuff. So I don't know if he just, because it was his first night and he's new, I don't know if maybe he just wasn't aware of the fact that it exists, or like maybe somebody just didn't get around to telling him yet. But New Year's Eve, it was technically on a Wednesday night, but it was New Year's Eve, so it was very, very busy, and there were so many people in the club that it basically felt like a Friday or a Saturday night, which I have worked those nights in the past, but I usually try to avoid Friday and Saturday night shifts, and I have for a while now, because they get busy to where it's like just like too overwhelming for me, and because they tend to, in the past, other DJs have seemed to mostly use that smoke stuff on those busier kind of weekend nights, like Friday, Saturday nights kind of thing. So because I try to avoid that smoke stuff at all costs because it makes me so sick, I've tried to avoid Friday and Saturday nights. And then yeah, also the crowds are just like, it's too much chaos, too much commotion, and just very sensory, like overwhelming for me. So, but going in for New Year's Eve pretty recently, like a week back or so, I wasn't really too sure what to expect, because I had a feeling it might be a little bit busier than a regular Wednesday night, being New Year's Eve and all, but I had no idea it was going to be as busy as it was. It was much busier than I thought it was going to be, to where it felt like a Friday or a Saturday night shift pretty much. And then I also wasn't aware going into that shift that we were going to be having a new DJ that night. So I did end up working the entire shift. We were actually open 2 hours later that night, so I did a 12-hour shift that night. And going into it, I was not prepared. I was not prepared for how busy it was. I didn't know that we were going to have a new DJ. So, but I feel like I rolled with the punches pretty well. But yeah, the entire time I was pretty much holding my breath to see if they were going to use that smoke, because typically on that kind of a shift where it's really, really busy like that and like they're really trying to get the crowd going, that's typically when they'll use that smoke stuff more often. But yeah, they didn't that night. So that was like really amazing to me. And I was like so happy about that. But I was trying not to think about it too much or focus on it too much, and like just trying not to think about it, you know? Because yeah, that never lasts. It's like winter. It's always coming back around. It'll always be there, like in the background, just like waiting to jump out and attack and surprise me, like get me, like, you know, just when I'm not looking, when I'm not ready for it, like, rah! So, and when I've already paid to be here on a shift, you know, like we pay to work here. That's one of the catches of making our own schedules as dancers here at this club. We pay to do that. We pay to work each time we come in. So yeah, it really especially sucks if I've already paid to work a shift and then I don't see the smoke at first, but then later on, all of a sudden it comes out of nowhere before I've like made back what I just paid to work, kind of thing. So then I'm like stuck here in this like panic attack inducing environment, getting sick and not really feeling able to leave because I'm already like, you know, in the negative from what I paid to work and yada yada. But anyway, so New Year's Eve was okay. New Year's Eve was pretty good. But then, you know, like Monday night isn't really a kind of night where they would typically use that smoke as much. It's been a while since I've seen it on a Sunday or Monday night kind of thing, or like even a Tuesday or Wednesday. But I do remember like months and months ago, the last times that I saw that stuff, it was that same manager that put it on, and like a Sunday or Monday night, I'm pretty sure. Usually it used to be Sundays though. And last night was Monday. And there wasn't really anybody in there. You know, it definitely wasn't busy. It was a, you know, typical slow, boring kind of Monday night. But last time he did that, last time he put it on, I asked him to like turn it down, and he did. He actually shut it off when I asked him. But last night I didn't say anything because I don't know, like I said, I usually try to tough things out, and I just don't feel comfortable like going to people with things and like saying stuff and complaining or just like saying anything. I usually just try to deal with stuff on my own as best I can. I really don't like to make a fuss. I really don't like to like confront things or say things or have to ask anybody for anything. Like I'm so used to having to deal with everything and do everything on my own, all by myself. So to have to try to like go to anybody for anything is like torture to me as well. Like I hate having to do that. So I didn't say anything last night. I just stuck it out as best I could. But I did work the entire night last night, and so I feel really sick now. I feel awful. My head hurts so bad. Like, but it's Tinka Tuesday. So it's like I have to come out because it's Tinka Tuesday. I'm pretty sure this is also the first Tuesday of this year, 2026. So I don't know why that's special or why it would be, but I don't know. It's just, oh God, I just didn't want to sleep all day. I did, but I didn't, you know what I mean? My head hurts so bad right now. So yeah, I worked until close last night, and it just really sucks. You know, there's laser beams are just, I kind of have this fantasy. I'm not a sadistic person like most people seem to be. I'm a very nice person, or I like to think that I am, and I definitely try to be, but I don't even really have to try that hard usually, because I feel like for the most part it actually comes pretty naturally to me to just be nice. But anyways, I do have this kind of like not so nice fantasy, but it's nice to me. Whoever designed those laser beam lights, I just imagine them being like strapped down, unable to move, and like their eyelids taped open to where they can't blink, and just have those laser beam lights just like constantly blaring into their eyes, so they could, whoever designed those, just so they can feel what it's like. And then make them climb a 15-foot pole and go upside down and do pole tricks like that with their eyelids taped open. They can't blink. That's not that bad, is it? But, and I wouldn't wish that upon anybody else, really, that I can think of, but I just feel like that's fair, whoever designed those, because you know they did it in a sadistic, torturous mindset kind of way. because people love to torture strippers, and especially, or like anybody probably really, but especially strippers. So yeah, what if they just like were taped down and couldn't move and they had their eyelids taped open too? And they had to endure that for like 12 hours straight, 10 hours straight. No blinking, no eye drops, just their eyes open the entire time. Oh, oh my God. Oh. And the only way that they're allowed to be untaped from the table they're on or whatever it is they're like adhered to. The only way you can let them loose, their eyelids still have to be taped open, but they can be shackled at some point, but only if they're able to climb a 15-foot pole and go upside down on it. That's the catch. Otherwise, they have to just stay strapped down with the lights in their eyes for the rest of their lives. No blinking. Oh my God, my head hurts so bad right now. Oh my God. And yeah, smoke them out too. The room has to be pumped full of that, whatever that smoke stuff is that they use here. It's awful. It's so awful. Oh my God. And then I'm also wearing 2 wigs and 2 hats that like press the glasses, like my glasses frames into my ears and like my head more, which really hurts. So yeah, I did work till close last night, but I almost left an hour earlier because there was just no one in there and yada yada. But then these 2 guys came in by the bar and I don't know, I didn't recognize them. I don't think they recognized me. I don't think I'd seen them before. But one of them I did notice had like a stack of like money and dollar bills and stuff and had spent a bit on drinks at the bar that I saw. So my dancer friend Paris was on the stage at the time. So I had tried to chat them up for a few minutes and they didn't really seem that interested in me. So once I saw that he had the stack of like money, I saw Paris on stage like right near there because they were by the bar, which is near the stage. So I was like, oh, can I tip my friend on stage with some of that? And so he actually handed me a pretty good size like bit of ones. So I, tossed him on stage for my dancer friend Paris. And then I had been right about to leave before that because it had been snowing and stuff and there was only like an hour left in the night. So I was like, well, if I leave an hour early, hopefully I'll be able to get a little more sleep and then more time to get ready, like, today, basically coming out today. I was like, maybe I'll have more time to do my YouTube video tomorrow if I'm able to come out Tuesday, which was technically later that same day because it was after midnight, but whatever. So I was about to leave, but then when I saw that they had a little bit of money by the bar, those guys, I was like, well, maybe I'll just try to go on stage one more time because, they gave me some ones to tip my dancer friend Paris, and then I saw they also tipped the next dancer that was on after her. So I was only a few dancers on. There weren't that many dancers left because it was the last hour of the night. So I was, going to be on again shortly after those other dancers going on. And then the dancer that was on right before me, she got tipped a lot and she's really hot. So sure, that was, made sense. But, I just had a feeling. I was like, I know that if I stay just to go on stage this one more time with those guys, I was like, this is how I already like, I was like, if this is anything how everything else always tends to go for me, I already know just how this is going to go. And I try not to think that way because I don't want to create my own reality in the wrong way, which I know people say that like the way that you think, like your thoughts, it'll like create your reality, which honestly, I don't believe that. That's bullshit to me. Everybody gang stalkers create my reality. Or the Illuminati, but I don't think it's that much me. Well, sure, if they want to say that to like blame, so I can like blame myself more, fine, whatever, but I don't believe that. I really think that's just more bullshit. Yeah, things are definitely rigged for me, and to where I'm like, most of the people around me, I'm like, are these even humans, or is this even like, what computer am I stuck in? What microchip did they manage to shove in me sometime when I was sleeping, or just in my food, or like, I don't know. There's been too many like upsetting science fiction movies too to like put these like unsettling thoughts into people's heads regardless too. So it's like, whatever. So I was like, if this is like anything else, how everything else tends to go for me, I know exactly what's going to happen already. You know, all these other, you know, there's like all these ones and this for this dancer before me, and then I'm going to go on and there's not going to be a single dollar bill. And that's how it went. So, but then it's like, because those two guys by the bar, the dancer that got tipped so much on stage before me, after she got off of the stage, she went over to the guys by the bar, and her and those two guys and another dancer all went to go do lap dances, which originally they said they weren't going to be doing lap dances, but I guess they talked them into it. But it's like, you know, I had made a point, because I saw the stack of ones, to like try to toss them on stage for my dancer friend Paris, and I was like, well, since they're standing right there, maybe they'll toss at least a couple of dollar bills on stage for me, you know, like. But yeah, they didn't, so that wasn't really surprising, but still, you know, still disappointing. So I was like, you know, I stayed that extra hour for not a whole lot of positive outcome, I guess, but I did get more stretching in, you know, I stretched more on stage, which was something, I guess. And then this chick came in that used to be a roommate of mine years and years and years ago, when I first moved up to the area that I'm in now. Back when I had roommates at that old apartment, I since, you know, I moved out shortly after into the apartment that I'm in now, like by myself, but I had a lot of bad times, a lot of bad memories at that old apartment when I had first moved in there. And so seeing her brings up a lot of those bad memories. Like I had really bad times there. And last time I saw her at the club, not that long ago, she was sitting with some guy by the stage, and they had all these ones, and I went on the pole and like did this pole trick and stuff, and they were just sitting there with all these ones, and they didn't tip me a single dollar. So at the end of the night last night, after those other two guys and two dancers had gone to do lap dances, she came in and this other guy sat at the stage with these dollar bills, and I was like on the other side of the stage doing like this middle split, so I like, it really hurt, and I didn't want to like take the time to get up out of that position to go over to them, because also like I just didn't want to have a repeat of that, to where I go over and like try to like engage them and like, you know, try to do stuff extra on stage, and then they're just sitting there with all these dollar bills and they don't tip me again, because it's just more embarrassing and it's just more frustrating for that to happen again, since that's happened before. But I was like, maybe just like give it like another try, like just, sorry, I have to go sign in real quick. Crap, I did this yesterday, I have to do it again. I'll be right back, sorry. Oh, what'd I miss? 3:59. All right. Let's see what it says on here. 3:59:04. I have just under 1 minute left. Oh, my head hurts so bad. Oh gosh. Okay, I'm gonna wrap this up in a minute. I haven't had my car on for this video. I just got gas in my car recently, and so I didn't want to have my car idling this entire time. I wanted to try to save on the gas because I just filled up the tank. So I'm really cold right now because I haven't had my car on. But you know what? It's less cold than it's been. It's still very cold, but it's less cold than it's been because you know what I heard? You know what I read online recently? Because we got snow last night and we're supposed to get snow again tonight. And I guess it can only snow when it's a certain temperature or within a certain temperature range. So like up until yesterday, pretty much, we had been getting single-digit temperatures pretty frequently for a while. But I guess when it's that cold, it's actually less likely to snow. I think it's more likely to snow when it's still cold, obviously, but a higher temperature than single digits, like I guess like 20s and between like low 20s and low 30 temperature. My head hurts really bad. Like 20s and 30s. That's what I'm trying to tell myself. I'm pretty sure that's what I read. Oh no, I hate snow. But at least it's not as cold as it was, right? Because it has to be not as cold for snow. I'll have to look this back up later. This was not that recently I looked this up, but I thought I read something about that. So anyways, back to last night. So, okay, this piece of paper is the stage. I'm over here. I'm right here. And I'm doing a middle split, which hurts. This other ex-roommate of mine, no, she wasn't my roommate. Why am I saying she wasn't my roommate? She just, thank gosh. No, she wasn't my roommate. But she did live in that building where I had roommates. And the roommates that I had in that building were horrendous. There's no words for that place. That was a bad place to be. Many bad times there. Lots of bad things happened there. It was not the place to be. I can't stress that enough. So she wasn't my roommate there, but she lived in that building. And she used to dance here at the club that I dance at. And sometimes we would carpool together, like in taxi cabs or with one of her friends back before I got my car. This was a long time ago. This was like 2014 and 15. Pretty much, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, when I see her, it's just a lot of bad memories, you know what I mean? And yeah, also, the last time I saw her at the club, it was really insulting because she, like, came up to me, like, obviously remembered me, gave me a hug, was really friendly at first, but then later on that night, this was like a couple months ago, last I saw her until last night, and, you know, later on, she's at my stage with all these dollar bills, one of her friends, I guess. I go on the pole, do pole tricks. After I get down from the pole, they just got up and left without tipping me a single dollar or without saying goodbye or anything. It was just very weird vibes. So last night I saw her again at the very end of the night, after like, you know, already being bummed out to stay the extra hour, just to take that little chance or try to maybe get a few extra dollars from those guys that had been at the bar until they, you know, got up right when I was on stage without even looking at me, without tipping me, you know, just tipping me a single dollar. Just, it's like I wasn't even there. They just got up and left and went to go do lap dances with other dancers and yada yada. So, which I had a feeling that would happen, but I was trying to think positive, you know, that's why I stayed the extra hour. But anyways, so right after that is when I saw this other chick that used to live in that same building that I used to live in back in 2015, 14, 15. So when they came in, I was just basically like trying to take it a little bit easier on the stage. I wasn't feeling well after all that smoke stuff, and just, it was the end of the night. So I was just basically trying to stretch. I was doing a middle split. That's the middle split. At this end of the stage. So they come in and they sit over here. So I'm here, they're here. I don't know why they sat here. They could have come and sat closer to where I was, but they sat pretty far from where I was. It's like they were trying to get me to like have to get up and like out of my split position. I was stretching and they wanted to interrupt my stretch. That's why they sat over here. So I would have to get up. And they were literally sitting there with their stack of dollar bills, like, you know, trying to get me to, I knew they were trying to get me to get up out of that very difficult position I was in stretching. So then I would go over to where they were and like, you know, dance like a little monkey or a big fat monkey, and you know, to see if maybe they would toss me a dollar or two. And I just didn't want to give them that satisfaction, because last time she was there with somebody and had the dollar bills. I went on the pole and did all this stuff, and it was very insulting because they just got up and left without saying anything or tipping me a dollar. So I didn't want to have that same kind of thing happen. But I was like, all right, just try, like, don't have that bad attitude. Just try to like think positive. Like, maybe it'll go differently this time if you just give it a chance. You know, I was really trying to just be like, just fake it and just try. Maybe things will go differently this time if you just give it a chance, you know? So I was contemplating still, you know, just trying to go over there. I was like, you don't have to go in the pole, just go over there and just be friendly and whatever. But I just couldn't do it. I was just not in the mood for it. And I just was not in the mood for it. So, and I was stretching. I was doing my little split stretch. So yeah, I didn't bother. And I kind of just was acting like I couldn't see them, because they were wearing like neutral colored clothing to where they kind of just, it's not like they were wearing like neon colors to where they were like really noticeable. They kind of like their clothing just kind of blended in with like the dark lights in the club. So I wanted to think that maybe I could just like brush it off, like, oh, I'm just not noticing them. The music is too loud and the lights are just flashing all around and I just can't even see them there. So that was my strategy for that time. And so eventually they just got up and went over to the two dancers that had gone to do lap dances with the two guys that had been by the bar. By that point, they were coming out of the dance room, like finished with their lap dances. So the chick that used to live in the building that I used to live in and this guy that she was sitting with, they got up and went over to those other two dancers that were getting out of lap dance room and just started talking to them and tipping them. So I don't know, whatever. It was another bad shift for me, to add to my collection of bad shifts. I guess if anything, I should have a collection of like good shifts, because that would be easier to like keep track of. I could like try to write them down in a little notebook. I need to write more things down. I mean, I write too many things down already, but because I have so many bad shifts, it's like 90 to 95% of my shifts are awful. So I'm not going to try to keep track of all the awful ones, obviously, because that's just too much to I don't want to focus on that anyways, you know, but every now and then I'll have a good shift. Sure, of course it happens, of course. So when I have a good shift, what I should try to do from now on is just like write down like the details. Like, I mean, I already kind of like talk about it on my channel here, like in my videos sometimes, but I should actually try to like write it down more. Like, oh, I had such a good shift, like this one time. And then, especially now that it's like January in the new year, I'll do this for like 2026, and let's see how many good shifts I can have throughout the year. I wonder how many it will be. Can I reach 10? Can I have at least 10 good shifts throughout the year? That would really be something. I'm sure I can get at least 10. Come on. 12 months. I want to think I have at least one good shift a month. Maybe. I don't know. I'm going to start trying to keep track of things better, because I'm really bad at that. Amongst other things that I'm also bad at. I have such a bad headache right now. Speaking of other things that I write down a lot, I still have, oh my gosh, where are they? Crap. I was already showing these pages in my video from yesterday. But yeah, I have all of these pending notes for stuff that I want to talk about in my videos. And, you know, honestly, a lot of this stuff, it's like I've talked about half of it, but like the topics or whatever. And then it's like, but I have other stuff that I wanted to say that I wasn't able to get around to, because I'm always like rushing through things and just like scatterbrained. So it's like half of these notes I've kind of started to talk about already, but then I wanted to go into more detail, or I had more to add or more to say about it. But these just keep piling up. These have been pending for so long now. And it's like, if I were to just kind of like open one up and randomly go down and just point to one, just like randomly pick one just by pointing at it, be like, okay, I'll just talk about this right now. It would most likely be something that I've started to talk about before and then just like didn't like finish getting to talk about or something like that. I'm not too sure. Very, very scattered. Like I really can't organize any of my thoughts or things that I try to do, unfortunately, which really comes across in these videos, and I apologize for that. But I'm really trying, and I really like want to try to improve on this stuff, amongst other things. Like in my video yesterday about my 15 years of recovery and all that, I mean, I've also mentioned this before in previous videos, but I just wanted to mention again, like, I am really proud of myself for that, because, especially because, you know, me being a stripper and just the things that I deal with and struggle with, etc., and especially for the specific thing that I'm in recovery for, and specific other things that I've really struggled with and still struggle with, the lifestyle, the situation, the environment that I'm in, the situations that I'm in, the circumstances that I'm in, the lifestyle that I have, the environment that I'm in, these things are not only not conducive to trying to recover from the things that I've been trying to recover from, they're actually actively very, very, very bad. They're completely conducive to relapsing, basically. I'd say 90 to 95%. I try so hard as best I can to try to force them to switch that around. So even though most of this is conducive to relapsing with the stripping and etc., not just the stripping, but also so much of the rest of my lifestyle, circumstances, situations, very, very conducive to relapsing, extremely detrimental for the recovery process. However, I try very, very much to switch that around as best I can to where I try to force it to be helpful to my recovery instead, which is not, it's an extremely difficult thing to try to do. you know, the stereotypes about being a stripper. They're not all true for me personally, but a lot of them are or could be if I wasn't so adamant about fighting against allowing that to be the reality for myself. I mean, I do approach dancing and stripping for me personally. I do approach it as a sport. This is my sport, and I do try so hard to use it to try to be healthy. I couldn't do what I do on stage and on the pole if I didn't try as hard as I try to be healthy as best I can. I'm 37 and I go upside down in the pole over and over. It's 15 feet. It's very slippery. Other dancers wear lotion. There's laser beam lights hitting you in the face and the eyes from every possible direction. Directions that you didn't even know existed. From the floor, from this corner, from that, all 4/15,000 corners. They're coming at you from every possible direction. I wish I could get this on video. I guess when you do, if there's music playing in the club, I've tried to do videos in the club before, but they have to be over like 3 or 5 minutes or something like that. It's very confusing because under 3 minutes or under, it's considered a short, which I guess for shorts, you can't have music in the background. So they would have to be, if I'm trying to film the lights like that, I would be trying to I wouldn't want to have to just keep filming for like over 3 or 5 minutes just to get the lights. I could do that in like a few seconds, really, to prove my point. Like, but because there's music in the background, it would have to be a longer video for it to still post, and it would still get a copyright. I don't know. I really wish, but I really want people to actually see. I mean, these lights are insane. Like, there's these different patterns, every possible pattern you could imagine. Squiggly lines, strobes, like, it's like epilepsy. This is to trigger a seizure. This is to, it was 75 degrees in there last night. I know they're doing this on purpose. This is designed for me to get hurt, like in every possible way. Like, they are trying to put me in the hospital. I know there's no other explanation. Like, my apartment is 50 degrees, okay? Maybe 52 to 55 on a good day if I've been using the stove a lot. But, which I'm trying to do less of now that my electric bill was like, my electric bill was over $50 and I don't even ever put the heat on. So I don't know how that's even a thing. But so now I'm just not even going to put the stove on anymore. I'm just going to pretend that it's broken, which was like already my nightmare. Oh God. But I have a microwave. Oh my God. These lights are insane. They hurt so bad. I will try to get them in a video sometime. I have to, because they're just insane. Like, it is torture. I mean, I really, really do just love the thought of whoever designed them on purpose like that to be strapped down with their eyelids taped open, and these lights are just in their eyes like for hours at a time, maybe days even. Oh, you want this torture to stop? Okay, go climb that pole. Oh, somebody was on there before you wearing lotion? Sorry, we forgot to mention that until just now, but that's the only way to make these lights stop. You gotta go do it. And you have to go upside down too. That would be awesome. Oh, so, okay, I'm gonna wrap this up pretty soon. Yeah, but I'm really proud of myself for being able to deal with this stuff somehow, some way. Like, it is torture. It's torture. Like, it's only a matter of time before I really get seriously hurt here. I mean, I don't know how it hasn't happened already, and I work a lot. So I have a splitting headache right now. So before I wrap this up though, oh, and when I got back to my apartment last night, I just stood there and cried. but not for a long time, just for a few moments, you know, just like, wow. Ah. It was like, I feel like I'm in a movie sometimes. I can feel the camera on me, even when I'm not on my YouTube. I'm in a movie. I know I am. Or my life will be a movie someday, like a real one. I just know it. This is me trying to create my own reality. I have big plans. I have big goals and aspirations. Somehow, some way. My life does deserve to be a movie. Or, I don't know, something with meaning, something that'll last, something worthwhile, something bigger and better and not so obnoxious and stupid all the time, not for nothing, not meaningless and pointless and just endless torture for no good reason, you know, for other people's entertainment, just gang stalkers or the Illuminati or whatever's going on here. Oh, do you know what's so fucked up? So before the smoke came on last night, back to gang stalkers, what a concept. Another thing that I had no idea of the concept of this, or I had never come across this term until on the internet, I came across it for the first time on my YouTube. There were a lot of other like messed up terms that I didn't hear about or know about as a thing that existed until I saw them online. It used to be Facebook mostly, but I haven't been on there for a while. But okay, so before the smoke came on last night, the smoke machine that we have now and that we've had for a while does not make noise. It's silent. It's a different version than what they used to have years ago. When they first introduced it years ago, when it was the DJs controlling it, like now it's quiet and it's just constantly running nonstop. So there's really, as far as I know, it's constantly running nonstop and it's like pretty much quiet now. Whereas back in the day, when they first introduced this years and years and years ago, I think 2017 was when they first introduced it, to me anyway, it was DJs controlling it and it wasn't constantly running nonstop. It was a button that the DJs had to push at a certain time. And when they pushed the button, it made this sound. So it wasn't silent like the one we have now. And it wasn't constantly running like the one we have now. So at least the one we have now, it's not like coming at you as a surprise, like random times when the DJ decides to push the button, like when you're upside down on the pole, not expecting it or trying, like, you know what I mean? The DJs were really using that as like a torture technique back in the day for like extortion and stuff and just to torture me. Whereas now, at least there's no button for them to just push randomly. Now it's just constantly running in the background sometimes to where it's just like whatever, it just kind of fades into the background, I guess, until you like have nosebleeds and like a headache and realize the physical symptoms more so. But so now it's silent. Back in the day when they pushed the button, it made this noise. And it was a really obnoxious, weird, noticeable noise that sounded like a fart, like a, not a, like a loud, like whoopee cushion kind of fart, but like a slow, quiet fart, like a soft, like like a snake for sure, because all these freaking snakes all around me. So I was hearing that noise last night before they started the smoke, and I was like, why am I hearing that snake, quiet, silent, not silent, but why am I hearing that snaky kind of fart sound from back in the day? Because when I hear that sound, it reminds me it's the same sound as that old smoke machine we used to have. And I was like, I remember that sound. Why does that sound like the old smoke machine that I haven't seen in years? And when I was hearing that sound, at first, this is before they put the smoke on last night, so I didn't see the smoke yet. And then later on, they put the smoke on with the new one that's quiet. So by then the noise had stopped. The noise only happened a couple times, but it was like a prelude, like a forewarning or foreshadowing. So there was the noise and no smoke, and then later on, maybe like a half hour later, there was the smoke and no noise. That is a gang stalking technique. That I remember when I looked up gang stalking, it listed this like long list of like torture techniques that they use, and I recognized as things that I've experienced with almost every single one. There was like maybe one or two on the list that I didn't really, almost pretty much every single one. It was a long list too, and like the electronics being messed up, like tampering with tech, like messing with you through technology and electronics. I was like, yes, 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 but also no. That shit really, that shit sucks. Like, But it all really rang a bell with me. It all was very, very like recognizable. Like I have experienced a lot of this stuff. I don't like to harp on it. Obviously I do, but I don't really use the word like gang stalkers a lot, but wow, what a concept. You know what though? Rather than focusing on the word stalker, I'm focusing on the word gang, because when I think of somebody in a gang, I can't take you seriously. I'm sorry. I don't care what kind of power, what kind of money, what kind of technology you have access to be able to mess with people like that. When I hear the word gang, like, I'm not even focusing on the word stalker, because I'm focusing on the word gang. Because when I hear that word gang, what I think of is a coward that is too weak and too cowardly to stand on their own 2 feet, to do things by themselves. You've got to have a gang of people around you that are supplying you with that knowledge, that are supplying you with that technology. You're not just born a baby with evil thoughts and intentions like that. You're eventually indoctrinated or you're taught these things by somebody else. Somebody else is supplying you with that knowledge. Somebody else is supplying you with that technology. Somebody else is putting these thoughts and these ideas and this knowledge into your head. Like, you know what I mean? You're not born automatically knowing this stuff. So if you're in a gang or you're a gang stalker, I'm sorry, but again, you can have the power to do literally anything in the world, and I'm still not going to take you seriously. I don't care what you do to me or what you can do to me. I really don't, because at the end of the day, you're in a gang of people because you can't stand on your own 2 feet, because you're not strong enough. You're too weak and you're too cowardly to do things by yourself. Or maybe it is one person that's doing all this. I don't know, but I really don't care. I really don't care. I've been through so much crap. I'm so messed up at this point that, yes, technically I care, but also I really don't fully care, because why should I? Rich people have people that have nice lives, or like rich people or people that are actually happy, they have much more of a reason to fear death and to fear bad things than people that are just used to suffering. Again, silver lining. I'm a silver lining kind of person. The better off you have it, the better your life is, the more money you have or the more happiness you have, the more success, the more power, the better off you are, the more you have to lose. And the more reason you have to fear dying, if that's even a possibility for you. Maybe you're just so rich that you're like immortal. You know, you have like a robot body and your consciousness is uploaded to the app where you're just gonna live forever, fine, whatever. But if you're still a human, if you're still a rich person, if you're still a human and you're still rich and powerful, then you have all that more reason to fear death. You have all that more reason to fear losing what you have, or maybe you don't have to actually fear losing what you have because you're just that rich and powerful or whatever, but I don't know. Basically, the more your life sucks, the less you have to fear about dying or suffering more, because you're already suffering anyway. I don't know. This is all bullshit. I'm terrified of everything still. And and I fear every little thing that could possibly go more wrong. But I also wanted to before I wrap this up, my phone battery is almost dead. So another happy thing. I want to try to keep this happy and positive as best I can, like I always do. So I went to the store earlier today. This is a very happy thing for me because one of my favorite foods is salmon. And I got salmon today because it was on sale. And it came out to $6. Well, $5.98 technically. But hold on, I'm just going to take the top of the sticker off because it shows the store. I've literally showed this store in other videos before. Wow, I'm weird. It came out like just like with how my shift was last night and the things that I talk about and mention a lot. The weight of what I got is 0.665 pounds. 0.665. I'm assuming that the lady that did it on the scale, it was probably originally 666 and she felt bad and she probably just trimmed off a extra sliver just to make it 665 rather than 666. But you guys probably won't be able to see that, but just in case. It's gonna read backwards, but whatever. Hopefully that'll like show up in some way. Like hopefully you guys can see some of that. My battery's about to go out and I'm also gonna go into the club now. But anyways, cheers. What a fun time. I'm glad I got to come on today, and happy Tinka Tuesday. Yay, so happy as always. Hopefully I'll be able to come back on again soon. So I'm gonna peace out for now. Hope you guys are well. Bye for now, guys. 4:30. Bye for now.